All right, good morning, everyone. Thanks for all for joining us. And, so today we're going to talk a little bit about, hold on. We're going to talk a little bit about, here we are. All right, we're going to talk about expanding your service offering with live-in care. Sorry about the stuttering there for a minute. So before we get moving, let's talk a little bit first about some of the stuff. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, don't forget to give us a big thumbs up and to subscribe to the channel. And if you are listening to the rebroadcast on our morning meeting podcast, once again, leave us a comment, let us know what you think, and leave us a review. Tell us if you are finding this show and the information we're providing useful. All right, so let's get into the topic at hand. So live-in services. Live-in services were very, very popular before 2015. They were generally a trend in most parts of the country. They weren't too difficult to figure out. And then some changes were made to Department of Labor policies that took away the exemption to the live-in caregiver, making it a little more challenging for home care agencies to figure out pricing, affordability, and how to pay their caregivers. So this trend caused people to shy away from it, and there's a lot of parts of the country that are currently not offering this service. Some still are. Many are just not doing it right now. So what ends up happening? Well, live-in service is becoming it's starting to make a comeback, really. All right, and the reason for this is quite frankly because people are looking for more affordable ways in order to they're looking for more affordable ways to extend their care services. Like, for example, somebody here in the New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Eastern Pennsylvania area, 5-6 years ago, the going rate was like $18 to $20 an hour, $22 an hour for services. Now, I've talked to clients, and there have been as many as, I've seen prices go as high as 35, 37. I've seen a couple of agencies hit 40 per hour, and that's all fine and good. I mean, I'm not trying to knock anybody for making a buck, because really with the ever increasing wages in wage requirements, and with everything going on right now with the labor shortage, it's challenging, and you have to charge more in order to pay better wages, and that becomes interesting. So let me go ahead and bring up a couple of these issues here. So some of the problems that we're looking at when it comes to offering live-in services is very simply that people, as they are trying to figure out and navigate how to start and grow their business, they just don't understand the labor laws. Okay, that's really what it comes down to. And how do you pay, and how do you bill, and tracking all of this stuff, and making sure that your caregivers are paid accordingly. Well, let's take some of the mystery out of this. And now we are offering a live-in care kit, okay, over here at Briones Consulting Group. I'm going to go ahead and show that to you guys here on our website. Here we go. All right, so if you visit us at www.thebrionesgroup.com, you will actually This is our landing page. Feel free, download our caregiver retention ebook, completely free resource. All right, and so if we're going to go here to services and we click on program kits. All right, right now we have the expanding your service offering in living care. And please come back and visit often. We have a number of kits that are going to be popping up over the next few days that are going to be similar in nature to this one that we're going to walk through right now. We'll be doing similar walkthroughs for other services. So here we are. It's normally $697, but because we just launched it, it's $347. And if you use the coupon code FIRST50, the first 50 clients that buy this will get an additional 10% off. Whether it goes back on sale or it goes back to full price or it stays at the sale price for a little longer, the 10% strictly applies to the first 50 people. All right, so that's first 50. All right, you get 10% off. All right, so what's up with this kit? Our kit includes a marketing template. All right, here it is. All right, it is in Canva. You get the template. It is fully updatable for you. You can make whatever changes you need to. All right, and it also comes with a sample hiring agreement, sample set of rules, sample reporting policy so that you can understand how they need to report the hours, and the calculator tool, which we're going to get into here momentarily, a ebook that's going to cover different senior care payer sources. Now, this is going to cover, Medicaid, Medicare, the aid and attendant pension through the VA, how to work with long-term care insurance. It's a very useful resource. I normally reserve this for some of the classes that I teach and some of the trainings that we give, and for our certification courses as our senior care business professional certification. We also include a glossary of common industry terms and all the information that you're going to need from the Labor Department so you can make your decisions for this accordingly. So basically, this is a done for you kit that you're not going to have much of a problem implementing, and for the most part here. All right, so let's move on to the tool here, because this is really where we're going to solve a lot of your problems and make your ability to add in live-in services a lot easier. So a couple of the things, some of the big concerns is, can I use multiple caregivers? Can I, these are the top questions. Can I use multiple caregivers, and can I use, how do I have to pay them? If it's hourly, if it's live-in. I mean, there's a lot of things that come up, and we're going to talk about some of the pros and cons here. Now, the pros are really going to come down, as far as longevity and everything else. We're going to talk about this. So, all right. So the answer is that yes, you can use one caregiver for extended periods of time, or you can split it up on a 4-3. And our calculator tool here will actually tell you exactly when you should be switching out the caregiver so that you're in compliance with federal regulations. Okay. How many hours of regular time that you're going to pay them, and how many times of overtime. Obviously, the secondary caregiver won't be. This is just a strategy so that you don't have to pay as much out in overtime and be able to maintain better margins. What is your average daily pay for talking about straight time versus overtime? And, on the days that they do not get sufficient rest, because there is a part of the regulation is that your caregivers must receive 5 hours of uninterrupted rest. Okay. We recommend 8 hours of sleep that you tell the client, but 5 hours of rest is the law. Anything less than that or of uninterrupted, you have to pay for 21 hours throughout the day, and this will calculate all of that for you. So we're going to talk about how we get the bill rate and the bill rate with no rest. And here is one of the parts of the tool that I find most interesting. For a weekly case, how much does it cost for by the hour versus you doing this on, week by week as a live-in? So let's take a look at the things. The primary caregiver start and date time, it's pretty self-explanatory. Put in the date that the case, that first working Monday or whatever first day of your pay cycle is going to be. And you'll see what the date and what time your primary caregiver will go into work, and it'll calculate out accordingly. So let's take a look here. So let's say that they started on November 1st. All right, 2021 at 9 a.m. All right, so minimum hours paid daily. Now, this is part of where it gets a little interesting. You have to do your own research because the federal guideline is 12 hours per day, okay? Industry best practice is 13. This way it becomes fair to the caregiver. And, some states require 16. All right, so where does these numbers come in? It all depends on whether or not the state you live in particularly recognizes the 3 hours of break as a break or not, or if they recognize 8 hours of sleep versus the 5 hours of uninterrupted only. So the requirement is that they have to get 3 hours of break and 5 hours of uninterrupted sleep. Those additional 3 hours that are given as, common courtesy are whether or not your state will accept it. So I'm going to use 13, which is the, acceptable industry standard. And please, and if you do decide to implement this, whether you use our kit or go on your own, make sure you are following state compliance. And we are not responsible as a company for any decisions you make as far as hiring, pricing, or individual policy and procedure. This is educational purposes only. So state minimum wage, this federal minimum wage is $7.25. So let's just say you live in a state where it's $9. Yeah. All right, and let's say you're paying your caregivers, whatever your hourly rate is. So let's say you're paying your caregiver $17 an hour. That means we would recommend that you pay your live-ins $13. Even though minimum wage is, is 9, it's basically, if you're looking to do this on your own, feel free. It's the difference between, it's half of the difference between minimum wage and your current offering. That's the recommended, that's what we recommend as a company, that you pay your caregivers, unless your state minimum wage, is like crazy high. But even then, you're going to be hard pressed to get caregivers to find caregivers that would work for exactly minimum wage. People are what they are. So your hourly bill rate, let's just assume that your hourly bill rate, again, we'll go with the national, the national private pay average, which is about $28 an hour right now. The national average is actually 25, because some states are still charging relatively low. But because of wage requirements, a lot of places, a lot of private pay agencies across the country have moved it up to about 28 to 35. So let's take a look here. And how many hours are we looking at? So let's say your client is only getting 40 hours a week, okay? And you want to make a desired gross margin of 40%, okay, on your live-in cases. So this is what it comes down to. If they're only getting 40 hours a week, it's going to cost them $1,100 to do hourly pay. that means the client is not going to have any sort of advantage. Okay. Any sort of advantage at all to get you for, hourly service. It's just not, it's not going to be worthwhile. Okay. Now, if they're getting, let's say, 80 hours a week worth of service with you, um, oh, that's still not enough. But all right, let's say they're doing the full 168 hours, which is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All right. See, now at this point, there is a significant savings for the client. All right. So what does this mean? Well, this basically means that when your client is getting hourly services, if you want their money to last long enough to continue as your client, this is particularly useful for clients that are starting to see the pinch and feel the pinch a little bit financially because they didn't expect rates to go up as high as they have. And maybe they calculated based on a few years ago when everything was still $18 to $20 an hour, and now things are costing 28 to 30 or $35 an hour. So money becomes an issue, and if you want them to continue with services a little bit longer with you, this is where the benefit comes in. Okay, because over the course of a month, 168 hours a week is going to be roughly $18,000. Okay, by the hour. Where on live-in, it's going to be roughly $10,000. So it's a significant savings long term, and it'll allow you to keep your client sooner. Now, another big pro to doing this, a big positive aspect for the agency to figure, when it comes down to this, is that you can run this case with one or two caregivers. All right. One caregiver if you can get them to stay for all 7 days. Two caregivers if you can get them to stay in the house on a split like this, which is basically 4.5 days and 2.5 days. All right. I know it says 4-3, but Excel rounds up. Okay. So what does this mean for you as a home care agency owner? Well, it reduces your recruitment and your recruitment needs. It also reduces caregiver turnaround. It also, one of the big things that this does is that if you have inclement weather, like here in the Northeast, where my office is located, we have crazy weather. I mean, we have crazy weather all over the country. Just look at what happened in Texas last year. It was insane. But we're more prone to severe weather in the winter. So if you have a concern, now you can have the caregiver there, and continuity of care is important. This service is also fantastic for people who have clients, for agencies with clients that do a lot of Alzheimer's or dementia or other cognitive issues, or adults with developmental disabilities. If that is your primary client base, then this is something that you may heavily want to consider, simply because it creates that continuity of care. You don't have a lot of turnaround, a lot of different aides parading through the home, and now it really helps out with the service. So this is where it all boils down to. Now some of the cons of this, some of the negative points of it. Well, yes, your margins are still the same. I mean, you set your margins as to what you want to do, so you're not really losing any money. The only difficulty is that some parts of the country, it's extremely difficult to find caregivers that are willing to move into someone's home. All right. It has a lot to do with cultural background and a lot of other things to take into consideration. But what it actually boils down to is just that. Where can you find the caregivers? And that would really be where I would first start. If you can find the caregivers, by all means, go and start this service. I welcome you to. Our kit will make it a lot easier for you, and you have to You have to see if this is a good investment for you. Take advantage again of our coupon and our introductory price here. And if you guys have any questions, again, feel free, drop us a line. If you're leave something in the comments or reach out to us via email or on our website at thebrionesgroup.com. And again, if you are watching this on anywhere really, please take the link, share it, let others see it. Some other people might be able to help, and we really appreciate the support. And if you are, give us a like, a thumbs up, some sort of a reaction. And if you're listening to the podcast, let us know your thoughts. So here we go. Comment below. What do you guys think is the viability of live-in care? Is this something that you think would be important to have as a service offering? I'm going to tell you, I've been doing this for a while, and traditionally, live-in care is kind of the way to go, especially when we're talking about areas that the clients, bad weather areas, it's very good. Areas where you have a lot of need for continuity of care. And if you can have the caregiver base to do this, then by all means, put this in place. That's another big tool that this calculator does offer, is it gives you the advantage of being able to tell the caregivers approximately what they're going to make on a daily basis and on a weekly basis. Don't sell the hourly rate. You need to sell it to them as a concept based on how much they're going to earn potentially weekly, monthly, or by the year. All right, thanks for joining us, and we hope you found this useful, and we'll catch you guys next time.